As of late 2024, more than 170 women had been cast on one of the 12 Real Housewives franchises to air on cable network Bravo. But not all of those housewives are worthy of the title. Each franchise has had its peaks and valleys, but at their best, they have given us incredible reality television generated by the unique alchemy of their casts. So grab your oranges, apples, peaches, diamonds, snowflakes, and whatever, as the great pop culture debate considers the best Real Housewives casts of all time, or at least until early 2025 when we're recording this. My business is beauty, and that's why I'm filing for bankruptcy. I'm your host, Eric Resniak. Please help me welcome my panelists for this episode, who all know how to work it and be seen. First, please welcome back to the panel the morally corrupt Jake Lewis.
How pernicious. You were supposed to be my friend, my soulmate, my sister.
I will never emotionally fulfill you, Jake. Know that. And frankly, that goes for literally every other man I've ever met or will meet. Our next panelist is known for having high body count hair, high body count dress, and high body count shoes. Please welcome back Jake Petticelli.
Eric, I think I'm dressed like a mother, and I also look shamazing.
Well, I'm disengaging from this conversation, Jake. Thank you. I'm disengaging. And finally, life is a cabaret, especially when you're with our final panelist. It's Kevin Dillon.
Money can buy you ass. Class.
Well, clearly in this case, elegance was not learned, my friend. And up in the producer booth, we have Curtis Creekmore, who is wondering what you're all doing here without Dorinda. If you're curious about how we ended up with this Sweet 16, become a Patreon supporter of the podcast or listen to the 3-minute preview available wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, you can head to this episode on greatpopculturedebate.com and find the listener bracket as well as clips from all 16 nominated casts so you can play along with us at home. While you're there, check out some of our other related episodes, including Best Real Housewives tagline, Best Reality TV Competition, and Best Project Runway Design. And this is making me realize we need to do more Bravo episodes. Bravo, fucking bravo. With that out of the way, let's go to Bass Lake so we can file some cysts and deceases and get into these debate. First up, the panel voted unanimously in favor of the cast for Real Housewives of New York seasons 9 and 10, a 1 seed, meaning it was the pit for the peaches of Real Housewives of Atlanta season 10, a 4 seed. But Kevin, you wanted to say something about RHOA season 10? Where is your scooter?
Where is your scooter? Where is your scooter? I want to say that to so many people all the time, and I realize that 9 out of 10 of them probably have no clue what I'm talking about. But it is our last Nene Leakes, Kim Zolciak, Bierman. I don't know if she still uses the Bierman. Who knows? It is their last moment together. And, to have two pillars of that franchise going at each other in those red dresses and the duck lips and everything.
Yep. Thank you very much. I'm glad we got to speak about it. But RHONY seasons 9 and 10 will move into round 2. Next, the panel is evenly split between the OG cast for Real Housewives of New Jersey, a 2 seed, and Real Housewives of Atlanta seasons 3 and 4, a 3 seed. Jake Lewis, tell us why, like Phaedra, you are the ultimate Southern belle, and you will get what you want, which is for Atlanta to make it to round 2. Jake Petticelli, tell us why you remain thick as thieves with the RHONJ malls. Jake Lewis, please go first.
Yeah, so season 3 and season 4 of Real Housewives of Atlanta, the cast is Nene, Sheree, Kim, Candy, Cynthia, and Phaedra. There's not a weak spot in that. Cynthia can be argued for in some seasons, but I think both of those seasons she held her own, even if it's just the wig changes between each episode. The season 3 introduced us to Phaedra, who is living on to this day in reality stardom. I believe she's coming back to Atlanta, or she already did.
She's in the new season.
A lot of mine are very early season heavy. I do prefer the earlier seasons whenever they were a little less self-produced, even though I love Salt Lake City because they're so produced. But we got Phaedra. We got Phaedra's baby shower in season 3. That was just the most over-the-top, ridiculous thing ever. We got the infamous fight on the bus between Nene and Kim. That was amazing. That rolls right into them getting off the bus in Miami, and a whole host of other fights happen there where she's telling her she's going to throw her in that ocean over there if she keeps up with those B words. The only low point in the season for me was the whole fake marriage license being lost thing at the end of the season, but it was one little low point in an overall great season, which I can attribute to a great cast and Phaedra coming in so hot. right out of the box. And I love one of these freshman season girls that comes in and knows exactly who they are, exactly what they're going to do on the show. I love New Jersey the first 2 seasons, but I think Atlanta edges them out here.
Also, we don't talk about this enough, but Phaedra's entire insane baby timeline in her first season, where she tried to convince people that she was much less pregnant than she was unbelievable television, and she did that with a straight face. That being said, Jake Pitticelli talked to us about RHONJ seasons 1 and 2.
So in 2009, we used to be a proper country, and we were graced with the masterpiece, which we now know as the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Season 1, we meet Teresa, a shopaholic married to a contractor. You have Dina, an interior designer and event planner. Caroline, who is Dina's older sister, who helps run her husband's catering business, shout out to the Brownstone. And then Jacqueline, who is married to Carolyn and Dina's brother. So I love the family dynamics. I think that's something different about this cast compared to others. And then lastly, you have Danielle Staub, the former model, whose ex-husband rather, was the 20th man she was engaged to. But of course, the thing that people remember most about season 1 is the table flip heard around the world. Fucking prostitution whore, you engaged 19 times? Quick aside, I would like the words prostitution whore written on my gravestone.
Done.
He died how he lived, a whore.
Yes.
Release the doves. So overall, the first season of New Jersey was the best. It was a time when they all got along. And they tried to make Danielle a part of the group, but she turned out to be, I believe the psychological medical term is cray-cray.
Yeah.
Season 2, it was also incredibly crazy. I think personally this is one of the best seasons of The Housewives, full stop. It's completely unhinged, and I don't think there's any other season quite like it. And also by season 2, the fans kind of knew what to expect from the women. There were some great moments like you're a clown. When I called you trash, I meant it. Caroline's epic takedown of Danielle. And of course, the best moment of season 2, Danielle being chased out of the country club by Teresa and a herd of people, and then gets her hair pulled by Jacqueline's daughter, Ashley, and then runs to Kim G's Bentley for safety. It's one of the most chaotic scenes in all of Housewives history. I agree with Jake that the early seasons of Housewives, they just feel less produced and more real.
Great. Kevin, where are you? Is it going to be New Jersey seasons 1 and 2, or is it going to be Atlanta seasons 3 and 4?
I think I'm going to go Atlanta, and I'm going to switch my vote because I think I originally had picked New Jersey. And the reason, Dina is just a nothing burger to me in New Jersey. And when it comes to, like, I guess my rubric and comprehensiveness of the cast, the Atlanta 3 and 4 girls get the edge just because Dina is a nothing burger to me, unfortunately.
That's a good point, and that is definitely part of my rubric. I'm actually going to give it to Jersey here, and I'll tell you why.
Wow, okay.
Because I think there are better Atlanta casts, and I don't think
That's
there's
fair.
I don't think there's a better Jersey cast in this original 5. And I think that Atlanta 3 and 4 set us up for the peak period of Atlanta, but Jersey never got any better than 2. Also, is 2 the reunion where Teresa physically throws Andy Cohen off of the
Oh.
chair?
Yeah, it is.
Yes,
Actually,
it is.
I'm going back to Jersey. You got me back there, Eric.
Did you acknowledge your nephew? Yeah, so that
Do
means
not bring up my family.
she hulked out. All right, so we are going to give it to Jersey, and that will continue into round 2. Next, it's another even split between Real Housewives of Miami reboot cast, a 1 seed, and Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2, a 4 seed. Kevin, tell us why you were only too happy to return to Bluestone Manor with the ex-wives. I will bring the heat in my defense of the Miami wives. Kevin, please go first.
Eric, what if your son was dead? Dorinda drunkenly saying that to Brandy at dinner was... I say that to people who are Housewives fans all the time, and I think it is an iconic moment. What made you think the girl was a lesbian? Her eyebrows. I mean, there is moment after moment. Like, to me, there's a reason this is the All-Stars cast that made this list, and it's the only one, because this is they came to play. And even people like, oh my God, I'm blanking on her name, from Atlanta, Eva. Even Eva was entertaining, stoned, and just really fun. Like, each one of those girls played a very good role in this. Jill recreating her, hi, hello, like doing that. And these women are like, who is this? Vicky being sick and being a COVID denier. Tamara fighting with Dorinda. It's just this mishmash that really was perfection and worked so well, and then Dorinda just being unhinged the whole time.
Let me just first acknowledge everything that Kevin just said, agree with it. And also, these girls came to play so hard on this show that most of them were brought back to their original franchises, or
Yep.
Taylor was brought into a completely different franchise after this
She
because
sure
they
was.
were
Good
giving
point.
television.
Thank
That
you for
moment,
helping my argument.
I know, that moment where Brandy's fighting with Dorinda, and Phaedra's like, "You have to be nice to that woman. She's old enough to be your mother." And she's like, "She's 3 years older than I am."
And then they're going, oh. And like,
Oh.
they also brought most of these women back to a season we will never see.
Yes.
Because of assault allegations.
Yep.
And I mean, that's how popular most of these women were. They were brought back to another All-Stars.
Absolutely, yes. So, great points. I'm going to talk about Miami. So, this is the reboot cast for Miami. It had been canceled, they brought it back, and it is kind of a weird blend of the OG crew and some new ones. So, the core members were unchanged for seasons 4 through 6, included returning Central Wife Larsa Pippen, who was absent since season 1 of the show, Alexia Napola and Lisa Hochstein, who carried over major drama from the early seasons, and 3 solid newbies in Nicole Martin, Gertie Abrera, and Julia Lemagova. Do we have any filler? I mean, aside from what's in their faces, I guess Julia is probably the least essential
Julia
cast
is
member.
filler, big time filler.
But she is, I believe, our first out lesbian housewife, which has something to say for it, even though we're not going to talk about her wife, who's a TERF. Gertie's cancer storyline in season 6 was incredibly moving. Nicole is the rare, sane, normal housewife who is still entertaining to watch. Lisa Hochstein is a bad news buffet. Alexia is a drama engine, and Larsa may be the most delusional current housewife on any franchise. She is absolutely a terrible person, but in a compulsively watchable way. With that being said, I'm going to start with Jake Pitticelli. Is it Miami or is it Ultimate Girls Trip?
Bienvenida a Miami.
Okay, thank you very much. Jake Lewis, is it going to be Miami or UGT?
I'm going to stick with Ultimate Girls Trip. I mean, you put Phaedra and Dorinda on the same season, and Brandy. I mean, it's a dream come true for someone that's watched it from the beginning. Those three together and the rest of the cast is great too, but all stars, love it.
It was a hot mess express, and it was exactly what we wanted from those Ultimate Girls Trips. So we're split still. Miami is weirdly a 1 seed, and Ultimate Girls Trip is a 4.
Insane to me.
I need to point out here that when this poll was up, Miami was currently airing, and there is no question that recency bias fully influenced these votes. But Miami will continue into round 2. The bulk of the panel is feeling peachy about the prospects of Real Housewives of Atlanta's season 5 cast, a 2 seed, but Jake Pitticelli is California dreamin' for the women of Real Housewives of Orange County season 11, a 3 seed. I will try to give the people what they want, and they always want Kenya Moore and the RHOA ladies. Jake, see if you have the luck of the Irish as you push for OC season 11. Are you an O'Toole? Jake, please go first.
Okay, so I know I said earlier I really like a lot of the early seasons of The Housewives, and while that's true, I think season 11 of Orange County is a very strong season. We meet Crazy Kelly Dodd. We have some really interesting storylines where we see Shannon and David renew their vows, which worked out so well. This was also the season where we see the fallout from Vicky and Brooks and how that affected her relationships and her trying to rekindle some of her friendships. Megan was trying to get pregnant in that season, which was very raw and vulnerable. And let's not talk about the husband, Jim, who was at that time, as we know now, sending nudes to other women. And if anybody wants to send me those, I wouldn't hate it.
I wouldn't hate it either, just putting that out there, yeah.
There's some iconic moments. You had Shannon's 70s party, where one of Shannon's friends says that Kelly sucked dick to pay her bills, which there's nothing wrong with.
Absolutely not.
And then Kelly yells at Shannon, "No wonder your husband cheated on you," and then goes on to call her Mrs. Roper. You have the dune buggy incident with Vicky and the cast trip to Ireland. One of the craziest moments of that season was how it ended, the bus ride from hell, where Kelly reveals that it was actually Vicky that told her that it was that Shannon's husband beat the shit out of her, and Tamara's husband is gay. And I lastly want to say, let's take a moment to acknowledge the unsung heroes of these shows, which are all the Sprinter vans, buses, black SUVs. Like, when they get into a van, there's going to be drama. There will also be people filming without permission. But props to Olivia for getting 100% on her math test.
I want you to pause this episode right now and go watch Sprinter Band footage and just play some Sarah McLachlan music over it while you just wistfully wipe a tear away. Great job. I believe this is a 3-1, so I do want to ask, Jake Lewis, has he swayed you, or are you going to stick with RHOA season 5 here?
I am going to stick with Atlanta.
All right. Kevin, are you sticking with Atlanta, or are you going to switch to OC?
Eric, I'm gone with the Win Fabulous. I'm sticking with Atlanta,
Woo!
darling.
Don't come for me unless I twirl for you.
Yes.
I do want to make one last note about OC11 is Kelly Dodd is such a potent villain and such a nasty piece of work that she literally pushed a major housewife off of that show because she fucking refused to work with her. That is actually kind of monumental and has not happened that often on the show. So
I am shocked she's not on House of Villains.
Seriously. Next, the panel has another unanimous decision, this time in favor of 1-seed Real Housewives of Salt Lake City's season 4 cast, which had the receipts, proof, timeline to move past 4-seed Real Housewives of New Jersey Renaissance cast from seasons 9 through 12. But Jake Pitticelli, you wanted to yank Marge by the pigtails before the Jersey girls get bounced from the competition. Talk to me, Jake.
Yeah, so seasons 9 through 12 of Real Housewives of New Jersey were a trip. They had the same cast each time: Jackie, Margaret, Melissa, Tree, Jen, and Dolores. Season 9 started out. Was it the best? It was strong, but was it the best season? No. But it did have all the ingredients of why we love New Jersey. Regardless of how you felt about them, they introduced Jackie and Jennifer, whose introductions I thought made the show kind of feel fresh. Almost as fresh as a Jersey Mike sandwich. Season, they had the trip to Cabo, which is pretty epic. That's when one of my favorite lines of the entire series, when Marge says, Jen, looks like a monkey's asshole. And then Jen says, yeah, a monkey's asshole. Now you'd fucking suck. She has such a way with words. She's just like, I don't know, Jane Austen. And then it ends with Marge and Joe pushing Marty in the pool. Your husband's in the pool. Who pushed them? Me and my husband. Season 10, also, it was good. Not great, but consistently good. You had the big fight at the boutique where Danielle pulled Marge's hair. That's like some old school stripper fighting, and we love to see it. In season 10, a big part of the storyline was Teresa waiting to see Joe's fate, which was being determined by the courts in his sentencing. She was also dealing with the loss of her mother. So I thought that this season had, between the hair pulling, prison, death, this club had everything. And then the last two seasons, seasons 11 and 12, I think were also really good. Danielle got off the series, which I was sad because she was replaced by Jen. And then you have the big feud between Teresa and Jackie, where she accuses Jackie's husband, Evan, of hooking up with people at the gym. And that became a whole big thing. So I think that seasons 9 through 12 may have not been the best seasons in New Jersey, but were consistently good.
You know what's funny? Not once did you mention Melissa Gorga, and she is the person that they are going to be continuing to follow for that show now that Teresa's reportedly getting a spinoff. I think that's fucking hysterical, but we will be moving.
I don't think that's the first time people have forgotten Melissa Gorga.
Exactly right. I'm envious of nothing, but she's on display. Salt Lake City Season 4 is continuing into the round 2. Next, the panel is evenly split between Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 5, a 3-seed, and Real Housewives of New York Season 3, a 2-seed. Jake Lewis, why don't you have a piece of bread and calm down before you defend the ladies of BH? Kevin, tell us why a little Sonya definitely spiced up the New York party. Kevin, please go first.
I mean, Real Housewives of New York City Season 3 is just transparently my winner. This group of women is, I think, the most iconic group of New York City housewives. I know it does miss Dorinda, and I do get that. We'll kind of understand that why folks might prefer the other season with her. But what I will say is, this is Scary Island. This is Ramona telling Bethany that she has no friends on the Brooklyn Bridge. This has the Ramona fashion show with the crazy eyes. This has the introduction of Sonia Morgan, who was lovely and planned the cocktails and couture party. And I love the way Alex McCord says cocktails and couture. And this also has, Kelly Ben Simone just going on what is probably, unfortunately or sadly, yet comically, a little bit of a mental break where she screams, Al Sharpton, and oh, she's trying to kill me. She talked about my daughter in the press. It has her talking about that Gwyneth Paltrow is her friend, my friend Gwyneth. And I haven't even mentioned Jill's random ice skating storyline. And this is the introduction of Luann's first song on The Housewives. And so, like, this season is a buffet of perfection. And while it also has, I think, the first big major friendship fallout of any Housewives franchise on this season, which is Jill versus Bethany. And that friendship break was a blueprint for franchises to come. And I think season 3 of RHONY is the gold standard of Housewives seasons, casts in the early seasons of this show. It really just knocks it out of the park and sets the ball, and everyone tries to do what they did in this season. It's really good.
Great argument. Jake Lewis, will you talk to me a little bit about Real Houses of Beverly Hills season 5?
So this was my hardest choice. I love that season of New York. But for this season, starting at the beginning and working our way back, the reunion where you get, think maybe our first clap back at Andy when Brandy's like sort of uses an analogy where she's a dog.
Yep.
And she goes off on him. Love it. It's a great moment because Andy's kind of brought into the drama for a second. And then you've got Kim and Kyle weird fight over the dog bite, like probably one of their most intense fights, and they've had a lot of them. But what sets this season apart from everything is Amsterdam.
Yes.
Everything that happened in Amsterdam is gold. The dinner party from hell, them sitting at that table, and it's like a Greek tragedy playing out. And Kim just being unhinged for no reason and stirring the pot, and Kyle running out of that restaurant is comedy gold while the most dramatic scene is happening. Like, everything that Kim's been saying about her not standing up for her is played out right before our eyes. When we're all on Kyle's side, I would have run out too. Kim's a little crazy. But one of the downsides, in which almost made me switch over to New York, I think Eileen was a good addition, and she definitely added to that dinner. But I think overall she proved to kind of be a weak player overall. So I'm not going to vote against myself. I love this season and I chose it for a reason, but this is definitely a very hard choice for me as well.
For sure. Great argument. And let me hear you, Jake Pitticelli. Is it going to be RHONY season 3 or BH season 5?
RHONY season 3 is the mother I never had.
Yep.
It's the sister everybody would want, the friend that everybody deserves, and I don't know, better season. Done.
This is really a very hard decision, but I am going to stick with Beverly Hills here only because I agree with everything that's being said, but we didn't even talk about fucking Lisa Rinna, who, love her or hate her, this is her sophomore or her freshman season, and she does have a fantastic season on this show, but it doesn't matter because RHONY season 3 is a 2 seed and BH is a 3, which means RHONY season 3 will continue into round 2. One final unanimous decision from the panel, as the OG cast for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, a 1 seed, stole the goddamned house from Real Housewives of Miami season 2, a 4 seed. But Kevin, you wanted to get in a slap at Miami season 2 before it left the debate.
Yeah, it's a short slap. I don't understand how this made the bracket. I watched the reunion. Karen and Anna are two of literally the most forgettable housewives. I didn't even remember them. Like, when I watched it, I was like, I don't remember Karen at all, if I'm being honest. Like, Anna oozed her way back in recently with some shaky stuff, but Karen, I was like, who are you? Like, so it was just weird to me. I do love, shout out to Joanna Krupa, great housewife. Yeah. Wish she could be on this show.
Yep.
But she's in Poland. So no Miami for her.
Yep. A good point. And Beverly Hills season 1 will move into the next round. Finally, in round 1, one more even split between the OG cast for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, a 3 seed, and the season 3 and 4 cast for Real Housewives of Potomac, a 2 seed. Jake Lewis, tell us why you find the original women of SLC so arresting. Kevin, tell us why the word on the street remains Potomac. Jake Lewis, please go first.
I think this season is probably the weakest of Salt Lake City's, and it's still better than most other franchises' good seasons. It gave us Lisa Barlow, Mary Cosby, Heather Gay, Meredith Marks, Whitney Rose, Jen Shaw, who have proven to be, I mean, they're all still on the show except for Jen for obvious reasons. But I'm sure she's going to pop back in at some point, just like Teresa did.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite things about Salt Lake City is listening to Lisa and Meredith talk. It doesn't matter what they're saying. Their cadence and their voices are my favorite thing. If you can just talk and be entertaining and I don't care what you're saying, that's great TV to me. Love this cast. Like I said, they've had longevity already. I mean, we're on season 5 and it's basically the exact same cast, and what they've added since then is great as well. I mean, this show has not missed very often. We got Jen Shaw flaunting money and just throwing it in the government's face, like, come and get me, which was hilarious. Like, in retrospect, very funny. I mean,
Hilarious.
for us, probably not funny for her.
Yep.
We got shout out to Jake Pitticelli, the Brooks Marks one jumpsuit fashion show. And then we got great lines like Mary telling Jen she smelled like hospital. and Ben yelling, "You're gonna go with Mary who fucked her grandpa." It's so funny. It's so quotable, and it's their first season. Like, these girls hit the ground running and have not stopped.
They hit the ground skiing, I would say. But yes, excellent points. Kevin, talk to me about Real Housewives of Potomac seasons 3 and 4.
This is tough. And the reason this is tough for me, and I'll start out by saying, I hope Jen Shaw does not come back. I know she will. I don't enjoy her personally. She is not fun TV for me. She doesn't play. And I think that's ultimately, like, she doesn't know how to have fun. Everything's at an 11. And, like, sometimes that can be fun, but it never was for me. And so with that said, I went with the women of Potomac, whom I absolutely love and adore. Giselle Bryant, Karen Huger, Monique's Not for Lazy Mom Samuels. You then have Ashley and the whole Michael Darby situation, which was a huge, huge, huge thing. And then you had Candace Dillard Bassett, a fellow Sagittarius who gets just as angry as I do at things. And then we'll pull a butter knife out and slash it at Ashley, who's one of the worst housewife singers of all time. And then you have Robin Do Nothing Dixon, and she's still collecting a paycheck. And then, of course, last but not least, and unfortunately in today's times, the Grand Dame, Karen Huger, who is so funny, and that fucking lunch with her and Giselle fighting, and that mime coming up between the and Karen being like, "What is happening?" Like, it is so funny. And I think, oh man, these women just, like, entertain. I love these women. I get both of these. Whatever moves on is great, but I'm sticking with Potomac.
Jake Pitticelli, is it going to be SLC 1 or Potomac 3 and 4?
I gotta stick with the other Jake here. Yeah, I also don't think that she smelled like hospital. I think she may have just been wearing ICU number 5 by Chanel, but who knows?
You almost had me, Kevin. You almost swayed me over to Potomac, but then you mentioned Robin Dixon is a completely useless housewife, and there are no bummers on SLC. That is part of my rubric here.
Yep, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So for that reason, but, like, I want Ray to live. I want him to pay his bills.
The press conference where free Uncle Ben.
Free Uncle Ben. Yeah, absolutely. It's all so good. And I use this and nobody gets what I'm talking about. I come from Jesus is one of my favorite responses to anything. Thank you, Candice. But we will be moving Salt Lake City into the round 2. And that's the end of round 1, folks. We're going to take a quick break to join into the Gorga family brawl at a child's christening. Watch my spray on hair. We'll be right back.
Is Captain Picard objectively the best Star Trek captain? Did The Sopranos really need that ending? These are the questions that keep us up at night. Welcome to the Great Pop Culture Debate, where passion meets pedantry. We dissect, we digress, and occasionally we devolve into glorious geeky chaos. But we can't do it without you. Support the Great Pop Culture Debate on Patreon and unlock a treasure trove of bonus content. early access to episodes, exclusive bonus debates, and the chance to finally weigh in on that great Die Hard Christmas movie debate. Is it? Is it? Join the conversation. Support the Great Pop Culture Debate on Patreon, because some debates, well, they just need to happen.
And we're back for round 2 of our Best Real Housewives cast debate. Before we get into the Elite 8, I'd like my panelists to share their social media and what else they're working on. I'm going to start with Kevin. Dylan, where can people find you? What are you working on?
Yeah, you can find me on that Demonscape that is Twitter under ET Kevin's Mind. And you can find me on Blue Sky at Nightwing234. But you can also find me writing some fun film stuff up for this site and hopefully some more lists coming soon.
Yeah, that's right. You can find it on greatpopculturedebate.com. Kevin's done some great film lists for us under our blog section, so you should find them there. Thank you very much. Jake Pitticelli, where can people find you? What else are you working on?
Yeah, people can find me at jtesu_ on IG, not X, and Threads.
Jake Lewis, where can people find you and what else are you working on?
I am That Takes the Jake on Instagram.
Where can people find your softball team? Are they on socials?
So you can find the team I coach. We are Home Runs in Harmony. It's a play on Bone Thugs and Harmony, just for anybody that remembers. And we do several charitable fundraisers throughout the year.
Awesome. Thank you very much. The best place to follow us is on Blue Sky at gpcd.bsky.social or at gpcd on Mastodon. You should also make sure to subscribe to our page on YouTube, where we're going to be posting more original video content in 2025. But what you really need to do right now is sign up for our weekly newsletter. It's new every Tuesday at noon, and it tells you about everything new in pop culture that week. Sign up by finding the link on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or via the link tree on any of our social media accounts. Now let's move into round 2 so we can be reasonably shady. First up, it's looking like an East Coast smackdown between Real Housewives of New York City seasons 9 and 10, a 1 seed, and the, in some cases, literal original gangsters from Real Housewives of New Jersey, a 2 seed. Jake Pitticelli, get us to pay attention, please, as you tear into the competition like so many cheap hair extensions. I will say why I remain in a New York state of mind. I'll go first. First of all, let's go over the lineup in 9 of 10 of RHONY. Bethany Frankel, Luanda Lesseps, Ramona Singer, Sonia Morgan, Carol Radziwill, Dorinda Medley, and new addition Tinsley Mortimer. Absolute icons, every single one of them. If I had to pick a weak link, it would probably be Carol, and I think her acerbic humor was actually an essential ingredient of this cast. Tinsley was not a great fit in her first season, I suspect partially because she was still reeling from personal trauma and also being super careful about what she could say on air, given her very intense legal issues. But her overly emotional fallen it girl persona actually brought something new to this crew. Season 9 gave us more of the incredible train wreck saga of Luann and Tom, the genuinely weird Sonia versus Tinsley roommate/enemy storyline, Ramona versus Bethany, including mention it all and you don't support other women, the Mexico trip, which included a nude pool détente, and season 10 gets even better with the complete dissolution of Bethany and Carol's friendship, the astonishing Bethany and Dorinda trip to Puerto Rico, the rise and fall of Tinsley and Scott, the Berkshire's murder mystery party, and Luann's divorce from Tom and total spiral, including her arrest. I've been away. I've been to prison. The Morgan letters, the beginning of Luann's cabaret career, and the origin of Feeling Giovanni, the trip to Cartagena in which the women nearly die on a boat and Ramona literally shits herself everywhere. Heaven. It's heaven, you guys. It's heaven. This is the RHONY Renaissance. The series had had some bum seasons and casts prior to this, but it was steadily improving with 7 and 8. 9 and 10, absolutely the pinnacle of the franchise. 11's not bad, but you can feel it starting to give way. And after that, the whole show collapses, never recovered. That being said, Jake Pitticelli, talk to us about New Jersey.
Eric, I think I'm going to switch my vote. You did such a great job of convincing me. I honestly forgot how much was in those seasons because so much happened.
Yeah.
So I am going to change my vote, but just to talk about season 1 and 2 of New Jersey, there were some great moments. One of my favorites was when Danielle showed up at a charity event with the Hell's Angel at the Brownstone. And we learned her boyfriend Danny is like a really big supporter of the LGBTQ community. I think he's like on the board of GLAAD. I love his description of the Manzos. A punk is a punk. And it looks like the Manzos are punks. We also get, what should I call you? Is bitch better? Again, not better, beta.
Mm-hmm.
We have Teresa pushing Andy down at the reunion. And I just really think season 1 and 2 set the foundation of what we know the Housewives to be today. Just a little more scripted, a little less produced and less scripted. But you did a good job of making the argument for New York, so I'm switching my vote. Good job, Eric.
Thank you very much, Jake Lewis. Is it going to be New York or is it going to be New Jersey?
Yeah, with you take Tinsley out of that, I think that's a really, really, really good cast. I'm sticking with New York.
All right, and drag Tinsley, ruin her life. JK, already done. Kevin, are you going to go with New York or New Jersey?
Clip.
Clea.
I don't care if John wants to do Tipsy Girl. It could be Tipsy Guy. It could be Tipsy Guy. I will say this. I cannot and have a very hard time watching season 10. With that said, I never watch New Jersey ever, or I never rewatch New Jersey. It feels too close to home. Eric, as a person from upstate New York, it is Jersey and upstate New York are very similar. So I have to give the edge as well to my New York girls.
Yeah, and I now sleep with a New Jerseyan, so basically I'm Jerseyan by sexual transmission. So that being said, we're sticking with New York, seasons 9 and 10, which will move into the Final Four. Next, the women of Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 5, a 1 seed, currently have the edge over the reboot cast of Real Housewives of Miami, a 2 seed. Kevin, tell us why this RHOA cast remains Gone with the Wind fabulous. Jake Pitticelli, tell us why you want to remain part of this Miami social club. Jake, please go first.
Okay, so as you alluded to earlier, the cast of Miami seasons 4, 5, and 6 are a 10 out of 10. They each bring something unique. We have Larsa, who was married to an NBA star, Scottie Pippen, and has a whole history with the Kardashians. We have Dr. Nicole, who's one of the few housewives with an actual day job. But, according to Larsa, she's just putting people to sleep. It's so easy, anybody can do it. And again, as you mentioned, we have Julia, the eccentric model / farm animal enthusiast, who is married to well-known tennis champion and transphobe, Martina Navratilova. So I don't think the tennis court is the only turf she's familiar with. We have season 5, where the season line really becomes about Lisa's marriage troubles. And that, I will admit, is the first season I started watching Miami, because it became water cooler talk. And once I learned about the drama in season 5 and I watched it, I went and watched all the other seasons prior. The fallout from that was huge, and I think really catapulted that franchise into like this new level of a heightened cultural zeitgeist. And then season 6, I think, I'm glad that they brought back the entire cast. I think that's a smart move with that continuity, as we were talking about earlier. And then this season, I think what really makes it good is it's more moving with Guri's, even though it's not a good thing, Guri's diagnosis with breast cancer was incredibly moving. And it was so fucked up how Larsa told all the girls after Guri specifically told them not to. But I think that's really her specialty, being a complete bitch and making her others feel bad so she can feel better about herself because she's so insecure.
Amen. She is the worst. So this is a 3-1 I want to check. Jake Lewis, has he swayed you, or are you sticking with Atlanta season 5 here?
It's Atlanta for me.
Kevin Dillon, is it Atlanta season 5, or are you switching to Miami?
The introduction of Kenya Moore and Portia, I am sticking with Atlanta.
Kenya Moore, hair care, which is not this season.
Not that season.
Yeah.
Kenya Moore, hair care, tuba band.
I will wake up at 2 a.m. thinking that.
Exactly. All right, so we will be moving Real Housewives of Atlanta season 5 into the Final Four. Next, the panel is split again, this time between Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 4's cast, a 1 seed, and Real Housewives of New York season 3 cast, a 2 seed. Jake Lewis, get the scoop from Reality Von Tease as to why the SLC queens should advance to the Final Four. Kevin, tell us why you never want to escape from NYC's Scary Island. Jake Lewis, please go first.
This is a mostly returning cast. A very, very good, as I said about season 1, a very, very good, strong returning cast. And it also brings in Monica, who I thought was off to a great start. I was loving her. Again, another great freshman season. And even if it ended up poorly, she brought a lot to the show. I think it had obviously one of the best, most memorable finales of all time, with the receipts, proofs, timeline. I'm not going to act it out because it's been done too many times. But y'all know, you said it in your heads as soon as we brought the season up, because we know it's iconic. That dinner was iconic. Heather being so over dramatically produced about the whole thing in a great way. Like, there's a way to produce yourself that's good. And I thought it was so well done. I think the Salt Lake City girls just get it right so often, and just so many like good little tidbits throughout the season. Like Heather asking Mary, "Do I look inbred?" Or "Do you think I look inbred?" And Mary's like, "Yeah, I do." Mary came into her own in season 5, but she had so many good moments throughout. Some bad moments too, where she didn't make herself look great either. But Mary in season 5 was great. But we saw flashes of that Mary in season 4. Mary this season was great. So I like that trajectory, and the reunion where Monica just kind of digs herself in even deeper. Entertaining throughout, a great season and a great cast. So
100%. If you have not watched any of SLC, just watch the season 4 finales and reunions. It is top tier reality television. But Kevin, speaking of top tier reality television, talk to us about New York season 3.
I'm going to start by taking my opponent down a little bit. I actually don't think that season is that entertaining until you get to the end of it. And now, is it a banner bang up ending? It is. But I think there were some low points in it, like the Monica mom stuff just wasn't entertaining to me. But either way, I also don't love Monica because I also think she came in way too hot. And this was a little bit too much for me. And for me, RHONY season 3 is, while it does have those down moments and whatnot, I think it's a great season. And it was hard to watch Jill and Bethany's friendship breakup, but I really love what those women do with one another and how they play with one another. There are some, I talked about this in the first round, but you have some really random weird moments, like Luann going to that speakeasy and having that awful uncomfortable date with that gentleman. It's just so funny to try and watch her do PDA on TV. Like I said, Luann's first song, Ramona's Crazy Eyes, Bethany getting pregnant, which was really great. We liked Bethany back then. She was relatable. Her love with Jason, which eventually didn't end up going too well, was really lovely and moving. And then, I mean, I just love Jill's stuff with her mom and her sister, even though Jill is a fucking annoying person. It was great. There was the what to do when you, Jill having a feud with Alex about her sons and what to do. Well, I did have a chapter in my book saying what to say to the well-meaning moron. While you're in high school, I'm in Brooklyn trying to survive in this economy is from this season. It is a nonstop quote machine, and I haven't even repeated Scary Island again. And I just think this season is top, head to toe, the best. And it starts with Ramona saying she looks like Cameron Diaz. Don't you think my new haircut looks like Cameron Diaz? It's just incredible. And it's turtle time. It's the beginning of turtle time. Sorry, I could keep going and going. There's so many RHONY season 3 moments that are just too good.
Excellent. Jake Pitticelli, is it going to be RHONY season 3 or SLC 4?
They're both good seasons, but I'm sick with Real Housewives of New York.
Yeah, even if well, you know what? Actually, Jake Lewis, please don't hate me, but I don't want to have 2 SLC casts potentially in the final 4. That does mean we'll have 2 New York seasons potentially in the final 4, but they're very different casts. I am going to throw it to New York here. I think that the point that amazing finale and reunion with a solid season versus a consistently good season of New York is really the kind of change of pace there. So we are going to move New York 3 into the final 4. Finally, in round 2, it's 2 original casts in the mix, as the initial cast of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, a 1 seed, is up against the original group from Salt Lake City, a 3 seed. Jake Pitticelli, tell us why you think the original SLC women are shamazing. I will explain why. Life isn't always diamonds and rosé, but the original Beverly Hills women sure are. I'll go first. So, your Beverly Hills starting lineup: Kyle Richards, Kim Richards, Lisa Vanderpump, Adrienne Maloof, Taylor Armstrong, and Camille Grammer. Killer lineup. If I had to pick a weak link, it would be Adrienne, but she brought serious lifestyle porn, affable nouveau riche tackiness, and that surprisingly dark subplot where she and her cook were trying to take down Vanderpump, which is still bonkers. What makes the original seasons of Beverly Hills incredible television, and part of why the series, even when it is good, has never managed to live up to this first cast, is how raw and real and unexpectedly dark this show got. It started in season 1 with that terrific villain-turned-victim arc for Camille as her marriage to Kelsey Grammer slowly unraveled in real time, and it became obvious that Frasier pushed her to do this show so he could fuck his replacement wife while she was distracted. That is true, and Camille literally figured this out on the show. Then you had that absolutely shocking season finale with sisters Kyle and Kim in the back of the limo, one publicly accusing the other of being an alcoholic and the other screaming that she stole her goddamn house. Then things got darker in season 2 with the Taylor and Russell spousal abuse revelation, all of which aired after Russell had committed suicide. I don't think we will ever get a reality TV show as real as these seasons again, and I'm honestly not sure that I want to, because that is some really dark shit. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. We all fell in love with LVP and Ken and their whimsically bougie life. Kyle and Mauricio sure seemed to have a perfect marriage and family, although we all know that was a lie. The dinner party from hell remains a top-tier Housewives moment, nearly matched by Game Night from Hell, which gave us star-making turns from friends of Brandy Slutpig Glanville and Dana Pam of the $25,000 sunglasses. The alchemy changed in season 3 when Brandy was wedged into the show despite having almost nothing in common with these women, and the quasi-reboot of season 4 was a disaster. After they started adding actresses, the franchise lost the realness that made it so, well, real. But that being said, Jake Pitticelli talked to us about SLC 1.
What I love about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is that it kicked off like no other franchise. You have all the drama of Housewives, but when you add the Mormon component to it, it gets even more wild. The cast is absolute perfection, 11 out of 10. You have baby gorgeous Lisa fucking Barlow, who loves to go the distance. We have cousins and ex-Mormons Whitney Alibaba Rose and Heather Gay, aka Bad Weather, Tornado, Spin the Tooth, Destroy. This episode of the Great Pop Culture Debate is proudly brought to you by your local weather on the 8s. You have Meredith Mark, and as Jake mentioned earlier, I'm just so fascinated with her voice, and I think the entire Marks family is like always high. They talk in this monotone Californian's voice and have like the personality of an onion. I love it. And then you have Mary Cosby, who, although is corrupt as fuck, has become a fan favorite. And of course, the most controversial castmate, perhaps in all of Real Housewives, now convicted criminal Jen Shah. There's so many moments in the show this season that make it so good. You have Whitney's 52nd birthday party, which is a simpler time when Justin's teeth were like 5 shades darker and didn't blind you like they do today. It's like, sir, can you turn your high beams off? It's like assaulting. Overall, I think Salt Lake City is my personal favorite franchise of all of the Real Housewives. I mean, each episode of the season brought drama, and the ladies clocked in, much as they did the most recent season. So, yeah, I am sticking with season 1 of Salt Lake City.
Ladies and gentlemen, fucking clap for Jake Pitticelli.
A plus.
That was a
A
killer
plus. A
argument,
plus.
honey. That you gave it house down boots. I'm so impressed. Jake Lewis, where are you on this one? Is it BH or is it SLC?
Oh man, I was originally there for Beverly Hills. I'm sorry. Being said, I love Salt Lake City, but at the beginning of the podcast, I said I love the early seasons. And I know this is an early season of Salt Lake City, but I mean for the entire franchises. When they hadn't figured it out yet, I love these girls not knowing what they're doing. So I think Beverly Hills is going to get it for me.
Thank you. Kevin Dillon, is it going to be Beverly Hills or is it going to be SLC?
This was a tough one, but Eric, you're such a fucking liar. You're such a fucking liar. So I will be sticking with Beverly Hills, but this was tough. And Jake, you did a great job. You did a great job.
Absolutely. So we will be moving Beverly Hills 1 and 2 into the Final Four. With that, we have our Final Four. We're going to take a quick break to hang out with Jen Shah in this Sprinter van. Oh, hey, is that the cops? We'll be right back.
Another email newsletter? God, I know. But listen, the Great Pop Culture Debate newsletter, it's actually useful. Give us 3 minutes of your lunch break, and we'll tell you all the coolest new stuff in pop culture that week. The biggest new movies in theaters, the hottest new albums about to drop, the TV shows everyone will be talking about. We bring it to you every ball. It's all thriller and no filler, and you'll also find out all the fun news from the podcast. Subscribe today at greatpopculturedebate.com/subscribe.
And we're back with the Final Four of our Best Real Housewives cast debate. At this point in the show, I always like to take a step back and see if it shook out the way I expected it to. I also like to add to this point that no matter which option wins, we are celebrating all of these entries, and I hope nobody gets salty about what comes next. So we have 2 Real Housewives of New York casts, an Atlanta and a Beverly Hills. I think having 2 RHONY casts, I understand it. I think they're both iconic casts, but it kind of bums me out that we didn't have someone in here from, say, I don't know, New Jersey would make sense to me. But even saying that, I'm not sure I would give it to them. We have 2 1 seeds and 2 2 seeds, which I think makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go around the horn here. It's Real Housewives of New York seasons 9 and 10 versus Atlanta season 5. I would like to start with Kevin Dillon. Where are you on this one?
I'm going with Atlanta season 5. Like Kim Zolciak Bierman, I'm going to be pushed out 6 episodes into a season. But that's where I'm going. I think this is a core, iconic group of women and the women of Atlanta.
Great. Jake Pitticelli, is it going to be Atlanta 5 or RHONY 9/10?
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Real Houses of Atlanta, season 5.
My empire might be small, but it's growing. Jake Lewis, where are you? Is it RHONY 9/10 or Atlanta 5?
Yeah, I think Kenya and Portia were such good additions to an already kind of stacked cast. Sometimes they bring in girls and it just kind of tanks the season, and these girls came in and really lifted it even more than it already was. Nene was starting to kind of check out a little bit, but still, Atlanta's my girls.
Yeah, I'm going to make it a clean sweep. I think that the 9 and 10 for RHONY are spectacular seasons. I thought that, they did a really good job combining the old and new casts when they did the reboot around 7 and 8. And I maintain that 9 and 10 are like where it climaxed, but it's a large cast, and I can't tell you that all of them are batting 100. Tinsley is not always great, and neither is Carol for most of it. The Carol versus Bethany stuff, though, is really compelling television. I will say that. But I'm completely fine with it losing to Atlanta season 5, where there is absolutely no fat in that cast. Cynthia's maybe the least, but you need to have one normal person, and she gave you that.
The stuff with Peter is incredible, too.
It is.
Like, it's great TV.
Absolutely. So Atlanta season 5's in the final 2. Next, it's New York season 3, a 2 seed versus Beverly Hills 1 and 2, a 1 seed. And I'm going to start with Jake Lewis. Where are you on this one?
Yeah, I learned about electronic cigarettes through these seasons of Beverly Hills. I didn't even know they existed. I never used them, but I could have, and now I didn't look like a nerd that didn't know what it was. The Dinner with Alison Dubois puts this just about every season for me. I mean, it was so good and not produced. All those girls were just being mean. Like, that's all it was. It was an amazing cast, and I missed them.
Yeah, I do too. Kevin Dillon, where are you on this one? Is it New York 3 or BH?
I'm going to say 2 words to, maybe sway folks. Adrienne Maloof. Maloof. I'm sorry. That is a filler housewife. She was never good. She was never entertaining to me. She's one of the, today she would have been off in a season. She does nothing. And for me, RHONY season 3 is no fat, no filler. It's perfect. All those women coming together was just so good, and it was electric. So RHONY season 3 for me.
Oh, you do magic now? Thank you. Jake Pitticelli, is it New York season 3 or Beverly Hills 1 and 2?
I'm going with Real Housewives of New York season 3. It is the only season of any franchise where I consistently watch once a year. It's such a comfort. It's like chicken soup for the gay and tired soul. I love the addition of Sonia Morgan. Sonia Rita became a full-time cast member on the 7th episode on April 5th, 2010, which is now the holiest day of the year in my calendar, which I celebrate by driving through the Lincoln Tunnel with my Easy Pass. You had Brooklyn Fashion Week. One thing that wasn't mentioned is Ramona's crazy eyes. She literally looked possessed. That is one of my favorite gifts. And as in the words of Simon, the eyes were popping. And then you had, as Kevin mentioned, The Money Can't Buy You Class, which I was very surprised wasn't nominated for any Grammys. Scary Island, which I won't go too much more into because we already talked about that. You have Kelly calling Bethany a hoe bag, that she's a cook, not a chef. Big difference. And on that same trip, I loved when Kelly was eating all of the gummy bears and jelly beans and saying I don't eat high food.
That's fun food.
She doesn't eat high fructose corn syrup, and Bethany's like, gummy bears aren't natural. They don't grow on the vine. I think she went to Columbia, the country, not the college. And the housewife quote that I use the most of any of them is, "Go to sleep. You're crazy." Actually used that last night. So Yeah, I have to go with season 3. It was a perfect season.
Jake, I was right there with you with Beverly Hills, but I have to say he did kit me with the Adrienne Maloof of it all because Adrienne is not a good housewife, and there are no bad housewives. Even Alex, who is the normal one in New York, right? Even Alex is there kind of poking holes at everything else. I mean, she's in
And breaking out in
Brooklyn.
hives.
Yes, she's in Brooklyn, not in New York. And also she brings her husband also kind of makes it worthwhile too because he's a nutbag. But yeah, I think he might have swayed me over to New York season 3. I'm sorry, Jake. I feel bad.
So the thing with Adrienne, though,
Yeah.
she's an excellent target.
She is.
I mean, you get the Maloof, you get all that's like all of those things that you wouldn't have gotten if she wasn't on the show, like accusing Vanderpump of planting stories with really no proof at all. I get that she is what she is, but what she is a great target for a really good cast, and Vanderpump plays her so well all season to just look like a fool. And I think she might have had a better season if she wasn't up against such a tough competitor. But I will give you, there's no loser between these two. They're both great seasons and great casts.
I will go ahead and give it to New York season 3. So we have a final 2 of New York 3 versus Atlanta 5, both terrific seasons. I'm going to start in the middle with Jake Pitticelli. Where are you going here?
Giovanni.
We're feeling Giovanni. That's a vote for New York, in case you did not know. Jake Lewis, is it going to be New York or is it going to be Atlanta for you?
I think originally I was going with Atlanta, but since Nene's my favorite on Atlanta, she was kind of fading and kind of letting it get to her head at that point. Not fading for Nene, still good for other people.
Yeah.
But not as Nene as she could be. And Scary Island and just all of that drama and Kelly getting upset over getting a gift from Bethany. It's so funny and so unhinged, and you're seeing a mental breakdown that should not be funny. And then Alex McCord sitting there, haven't we been through enough? Whatever Jill walks in, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah, I think Beverly Hills season 1 and 2 is the only season that might have beat it for me. So since it's up against Atlanta, I think I'll give it to RHONY.
Kevin, I feel like I know where you're going here.
You do. And I, like, Jake, you took the joke right out of I was like, I'm going to freak out over a product placement gift bag so hard. I mean, Kelly also awkwardly gets interviewed by that guy who's interviewing her when she poses for Playboy, and she like flirts with him and forces a date into it, which is like the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen on television. I love RHONY New York. I like RHONY season 3 a lot. I can put people down in front of Scary Island, be like, you have to watch this. And it's just the best TV. I love Atlanta 5. I do. I think it's so good. It is, I think, the perfect alchemy for that group of women. But there is no better group of women than the Real Housewives of New York. And not as people, but as television characters.
Good catch there, yeah. Well, before we send Atlanta off on its sunset, I do want to at least, because we really haven't talked about Atlanta 5 that much. I wanted to do a quick overview of the story arcs in it because we haven't talked about it. First of all, Portia and Kenya coming on. I can't think of 2 other mid-series additions to these shows that were that successful. They basically feel like they are OGs, and when you try to take them out, it just doesn't work. But you have got Kenya's dubious relationship with Walter. You've got the implosion of Portia's marriage to Cordell. You've got Nene experiencing the ramp up for her Hollywood career, Candy becoming engaged to Todd, Phaedra becoming a mortician and her marriage to Apollo imploding, Cynthia being pretty, and we also in season 6 got the Underground Railroad snafu, and then that reunion at the end of season 6 where Portia physically assaulted Kenya on set and was then fired and arrested. So like, it was pretty major television, and I believe at the time it was the most highly watched housewife. But I take my panelists' points. Ultimately, there you have it. Our pick for the best Real Housewives cast is Real Housewives of New York Season 3. Do you agree? Do you think we should be Dave ourselves and make it nice? Tell us how you really feel by leaving a comment on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or find us on Blue Sky or Mastodon. While you're there, make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast. You can hear about what new debates are coming soon, vote in open polls, and even decide which topics we tackle next. I want to say thank you to my panel. I got you all this plate of sprinkle cookies. And thank you for listening. If you loved what you heard, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get even more exclusive content and get episodes a whole day early. We hope you have a good one. And remember, everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we never see Denise Richards again.